Hey guys, what's going on? It is Ando. Thanks for coming out to this video. Today's video is going to be all about Galactic Legends. And if you guys like these videos about Galactic Legends, make sure you guys leave a thumbs up as it lets me know what you guys want to watch and what you guys find helpful. If you guys haven't subscribed to the channel, it would mean a lot to me if you guys did so. It definitely helps out the channel, so thank you guys so much for doing that. All right, guys, so like I said, today's video is going to be all about Galactic Legends. And truly, this is going to be about putting numbers behind the Galactic Legends through their requirements. Now that we have Lord Vader's requirements, we know kind of what the pain is going to be of basically acquiring all these Galactic Legends. So I wanted to kind of put numbers behind this. Why? Because I get questions on stream about, hey, who should I go for next? Who should I go for first? So all these varying different questions come to me during streams, and I've never done this before, so I didn't really know how to answer it other than, hey, who I thought was the best. But sometimes the best isn't the best for, a certain, wherever you're at, within the game. So I decided, to at least put numbers in this. At least it's not the sole determinant about what is going to be the best Galactic Legend or anything like that. But this takes into account of GAC matchmaking, which I have a video for as well. So we're going to reference that quite a bit because you're basically the way that this whole thing is going to work now post the GL fixes and all this other stuff, the GL buffs and off meta nerfs, is it feels like it's going to be based off of, hey, how many Galactic Legends do you have versus how many do they have? So I think there's gonna be some really interesting ones. I know I was taken by surprise by a few of these, so I'm definitely looking forward to doing this video. And like I said, if you guys are liking this, make sure you let it be known so that way I can know what the audience wants to see here. So let's go ahead and get into the video, guys. All right, so the first one that we're going to start off with is Mrs. Potato Head herself, as she's been known. And what I will say too is I got all these numbers off of SWGoH GL. So I believe that includes Zetas as far as the GP goes, but it does not include like things like mods or anything like that. So basically, I think it's maxed out abilities, no mods, and at the given relic level. So I'm not going to walk through each one of the requirements and the relic levels. I'm just going to kind of highlight that total down there at the bottom. So you see right now that Rey has 62 relic levels and is about 294,000 GP just to get her alone, just her requirements alone. So also the other thing that I want to mention is that none of these requirements are going to do with ships. It's not because I was lazy and I didn't want to do ships. I actually tried to figure this out, but it's really hard to figure out, okay, so what does a no mod with a Zeta relic 5 holdo at 5 stars do with the abilities maxed at the 5-star level? Like, what is that GP there? It was really hard for me to find that, so I just decided, hey, what we're going to do is omit all the ship requirements. So while that will play into some of your decision making, ultimately we're just looking at the ground characters here. So 62 relic levels and 294,000 GP basically that's being added with Rey. Now SLKR, I think this guy has been long viewed as like, hey, if you're your entry level Galactic Legend, the first guy you should get or whatever, he is it. I think he's the poster child for that. And it's not hard to see here, actually, if you think about this. He's got 60 relic levels, so he's already 2 below Rey. So small difference, but a difference nonetheless. And again, 288,000 GP that you're adding. So again, a little bit less than Rey, but it makes sense, right? Because there's less relic levels as well. So SLKR coming in, doing kind of reaffirming people, I think, on why people chose him first. And there's obviously kit mechanics that went in that as well. So all right, so let's go into the next grouping, which was JML and C. Now JML, I think a lot of people have been saying that he is the best as far as requirements goes, as far as, hey, how many teams you get to build out of him and stuff like that. So you can see though there's a pretty big jump in relic levels. 72, right? We went from 62 and 60 with the original set, and you know, hovering around that high 290 or mid 290s, high 280s, to now 362,000 GP being added. Now, the one thing that I want to point out too is this is just for the requirements, and there's been a long line of people that have said, you know, when you talk about the requirements, you got to also consider things like JKL, who requires, and you know, I think what's 10 or 11 characters additionally with relics. So this is just for their requirements themselves, not the requirements, if that makes sense. So this is where things will definitely get a little bit hairier if you start to add up some of those things. But JML coming in with 72 relic levels and 362,000 GP being added, so definitely not a small amount. All right, Sith Eternal Emperor. This, I think, has been long viewed as the, hey, I just started yesterday and I want a Galactic Legend tomorrow. Who should I go for? And so I think C is the one that has been long pushed for in that regard, because of the requirements being easier to get and farm, and you know, a more rapid farming pattern, I guess, than SLKR. And for that, we see he's still at 72, so same as JML, but significantly lower, or maybe not significantly, but a little bit lower GP is being added from C. 359k with 72 relic levels, so a little bit lower, not a ton, but a little bit. And so I don't know, maybe that changes that thought process, I guess. I don't know how else to put it, but that maybe C was the easiest to get earlier on, because it certainly seems like the original two feel a little bit easier once you consider all the things that you know, that GP adds in the relic levels too. Like that's not easy to get that many relic levels. So the next grouping that we got was JMK and Vader, or Lord Vader, or we'll eventually get Lord Vader. And this is one that shocked me, guys. I mean, I was absolutely shocked. I had to double check my math, and I'd probably still mess it up, but it did equate out correctly. Now, when JMK came out, this was the first one to require relic 8s. So naturally, we just thought, hey, this is going to be harder to get. You know, it is harder to get because of the, you know, reluctance to just push out relic 8 mats, you know, at a rapid rate. But it was only 2 of them, and then there was still 4 relic 7s. So I thought for sure that we were going to hit a new relic level high, which we did hit that. But if you look at the GP added, we're right there with JML and C, that same grouping, I would say. Like, you know, they're relatively the same GP add. So definitely was not expecting that one. I couldn't believe it whenever I saw that number. So we were adding 78 relic levels, but you have 359k GP added. And I think this is going to be where things obviously go a little bit different than, you know, normally we've seen kind of the groupings be put together as far as how close is Ray to SLKR, how close is JML to C, and now JMK is actually really close to C and JML as well. But here we go to Vader, Lord Vader here, guys. 90 relic levels. Oh my goodness gracious. And 4 of them are relic 8s, 4 of them are relic 7s, and the rest of them are relic 5s, giving us our 90 relic levels. And the amount of GP that is added is almost 390k. So quite literally, like, I have seen people say that, oh, it's almost 2 Galactic Legends worth of GP. It really is. If you consider SLKR and Ray, the amount of GP that's added between the 2 of them, I mean, it is still significantly more than Lord Vader himself. But again, you know, you are getting 2 Galactic Legends or 1, if that makes sense. So very interesting right there to see that you know, 389k GP being added just by getting Lord Vader's requirements done. I thought about adding Cat and Maul to JMK because I think that like the way they're making it sound, it's sort of one of those things where they're not a requirement per se, but they are going to add to your GP because it feels like they kind of have to have those guys to be who they're truly supposed to be. And again, we haven't really tested Maul and Vader out, but just the way that the devs are speaking makes it sound like it is basically a requirement as well. So, but I stopped myself from doing it because there's no, I would say there's, at this point, there's really no real right or wrong answer about how many relic levels you put on Commander Ahsoka Tano, and we just don't know either what is going to happen with Maul, right? Like, is he going to be our R9? Is he going to be an R8? Is he going to be an R3? You know, I have some suspicion that I think he's actually going to be the one that you want to take up higher, whereas I think I left my Cat at like R5 or something like that. So I thought I basically went against it because I thought, well, this is just a requirements list. So even though I think that they are kind of partially requirements, so I created the list here just for us to see. Again, crazy for me to think that in as far as the most efficient GP ads we have are SLKR Rey and Jedi Master Kenobi, even though there is 2 R8s there. Like, I actually could not believe that. And Lord Vader is just such a huge tier above even JML, who's a slight bump from C and JMK, and both of those are a pretty significant bump from Rey and SLKR. Now, does this mean that Vader is going to be that much better than everyone else? No, it doesn't actually necessarily mean that at all. So I already know that day one, once Lord Vader comes out, people are going to have videos of them beating him with like undergeared characters or something like that. Some sort of madness is going to go on, and it is what it is, right? That's going to happen. And everyone's gonna be upset because they invested all this stuff in. But again, the devs have kind of said that, like, hey, he doesn't really work to his full potential without Maul. And even then, you know, I think that at this point in this game, it's hard to make someone that's undefeatable. And so, yeah. But ultimately, guys, I just think that this is going to be one of those things where this shouldn't tell you exactly who you should farm for, but it should tell you, hey, if you're trying to continue to maximize your GAC matchmaking as best as possible, I don't think that the first GL that you should get is Lord Vader, right? Specifically because someone can have a Rey and then like almost another 100k GP just in other characters built up in other squads, like in Jedi Knight Revan, Darth Revan, Gas, you know, those kind of squads, and you would be behind that. And so that is again the premise behind the GAC matchmaking and our tie-in with that, and how much GP that we are truly adding with this. I just thought this would be a fun video for us to do again, because a lot of people ask me about, hey, what is the next GL should I farm? Should I just quit my Rey farm and go for Lord Vader? And although I won't say that it's a yes or there's no right or wrong answer, because it truly depends on what you're trying to accomplish. If GAC is the ultimate goal for you, maybe not. If Squad Arena is your ultimate goal, then maybe you should. So take this with just a grain of salt. I plan on actually doing some more stuff with this too, because I actually want to kind of give a grade for the requirements that are needed for each Galactic Legend, because some are obviously, there's a lot of talk about, hey, this guy's got the best, hey, this guy's got the worst, you know, you get the most teams out of this guy and stuff like that. I think that would be kind of an interesting video as well. So I will probably try and make something like that in the future. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video, guys. Hopefully it was a little bit informative. Hopefully you guys were shocked as me whenever you guys saw the final outcome of this list. And if you guys did, make sure you guys do hit that like button, as it definitely helps the video get out there. Share it with your friends as well and your guild mates, and then we'll see you guys in the next one.